All right, hello. This is the Layer5 website's call. It's December 14th, and if you can see the screen, you should be able to see the meeting minutes. There's a link to the meeting minutes in the chat. Please do go open it. If you're not able to access it, look up and we'll get you access. And go ahead, add your names to the attendees list and add any other topics that you want to the agenda. And we'll be starting in about a minute. All right. Josh, Tanuj, will Nikhil be joining us? Any idea?
He's on the call.
I've joined already.
Achoo. So sorry.
The issues. Okay, so I think I've been promoted in the order. Okay, no issues. I will share my screen.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yep, it is.
Okay, so yeah. I did some design enhancements in the landscape timeline part as per the Figma document design. Move the dates and the service mesh name towards one side, and added a load more button, which will further load the remaining of the meshes. And it's a one-time activated button. So just wanted some feedback on this, if it's fine or there needs to be some changes.
What do all of you think? I think it's crap.
Need more subtle, like the button or something.
Sorry, Josh, I didn't get it. Can you please?
I think like the load more can be made more subtle, like the gray border can be removed or something. Like it may be uh, it like if someone keeps scrolling, then it may be the case that he might miss it or
Means I was wondering the same when I implemented that, but I couldn't figure out a better way to show that. Like
Mhm.
for the component which we are using for the timeline, they are using a plus symbol in which the button is filled up, like a green or some other color.
uh can you do something like a bigger size of that, or maybe
Like
that can work out?
okay, currently it's 40 by 40. Let me try with 60 by 60 something. Okay.
Well, and Nikhil potentially making the whole thing, either light green, which I think, if I recall, I think we're calling that Caribbean green. Either the whole thing green or potentially that yellow. the saffron, I think is what we're calling that yellow. Since it is a call to action, or since it is a
Okay, it
the
means the load more button, right?
right. And I suppose you don't have any. I guess in some respects, it's helpful that it's sitting on top of the timeline because it is, it is intended to extend the timeline, but that in part means that it's something that people can accidentally skip because it's not separate. But
Yeah.
one on the dates themselves, I think you'll end up wanting to use a slightly thinner version of the font.
Okay.
If you cruise back into the
Figma.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of black and gray, and then thinner. So one's the Canellas font, and then I think the other one is I'm not sure, they might both be Canellas, but oh, okay. So the date is Open Sans, and then the title is
Okay, I will make that a bit. And also another thing, like in the Figma, the icons and the meshes are a bit lifted upwards, but in the design, I've made it in the same line. So should it be in the same line or a bit shift, move towards upward?
the icons, the logos of the service meshes.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Like
I,
over here, it's lifted a bit towards the top.
right. I'm not entirely sure. That might be the case. It is the case that we're missing the underscore or the the dashed line, rather. I don't know if that's
No, what I meant was I purposely kept it on the same line. So I was asking, should I move it up and adding a dash line away or keep it in the same line?
oh yeah. If you would try moving it up with the dash line, I think the dash line gives it. Well, I don't even know how to articulate it, but yeah, if you would try it with the dash line. On the in the current implementation, the milestone markers are the circles are a little bit smaller, and so is the timeline itself. I think the bar itself is a little bit thinner.
Okay. Okay, so I
That
will
might
make some CSS changes and share a screenshot with you.
yeah. It might be that the bar and the circles are fine as it's possible that they're fine as is, and it might just be that that horizontal dashed line is the effect that we're sort of missing. That might yeah. And I don't know. I'm having a tough time with the. Actually, Shriti, can you ping Augustine Ogiza? He should be on this call. Otherwise, it's pretty fantastic, Nikhil. I mean, that button to expand it is great because it makes the page quite usable. Because people don't have to, they can explore this expanded timeline if they want to. And when you load the page and it's collapsed, does it still have the animation effect on the first couple?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. Nice. Good deal.
And also one thing, like for a few of the meshes like Trussell and Mesher, we don't have a logo.
Right.
So what should we do for them?
Yeah. Well, in some respects, like both of those are, I guess the question becomes, are we trying to be completionists? I mean, are we trying to show every single possible mesh that's out there? Or the two examples that you're bringing up, they're like nobody's using those, or well, some people are using them. They're just not very popular and things like. Should we even show them at all? The point was to try to help people understand that it's not just the 6 or so very popular ones they know, but there's also a number of other ones. This brings up a question I was trying to raise before, and that's like for Istio specifically, it's a good example of a service mesh that has many vendors using it in as a distribution, or many vendors creating distributions from it, like VMware's Tanzu service mesh or OpenShift's service mesh. They're based on Istio, and so yeah, I wonder if we wouldn't want to denote that somehow. Anyway, to answer your question about the, I don't know, that we need to have a generic service mesh icon, like that seems like that would work well for Mesher and Yggdrasil, however you say it.
Okay. Okay.
So let me take a note on that to give you a generic service mesh icon.
Okay.
Now, Citrix has an alternative version of their logo. I think it's like a dark, it's a blue color. We might want to use here just to offset the logo from the timeline. Here in the timeline, you're using charcoal, correct? As the,
Yes, yes.
okay.
I didn't try with the screen. What we name it?
Dark jungle green.
Dark jungle. Yeah. I will try with that one as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if one's better than the next or not. It might be that since there's not that much else going on, that the inner light green is also not necessary. I don't know. Do people feel like that inner light green circle is adding to the effect in a positive way? Or is it just, should it just be solid, one solid color?
Not sure. Like for the current landscape page, I think
Right.
it's just.
Neil, any feeling that you get about this? Your thoughts? Mr. Alvarez, it's helpful to hear other people. Just if you have just a gut feeling like you like it or you don't. Or Aditya Ambakar, do you have, what do you think? Are we using the wrong colors? Do we need to have two circles, a circle inside of a circle? Is that just too much? We don't really care if people are looking at the markers themselves. We care more that they see a bump in the timeline and then they look more at the details of the mesh.
Seems like we don't have a response. Okay. We'll note that out on the meeting minutes. We can move ahead with other presentation. I think that we can keep it for the time being. Like I will add a horizontal dash and move the icons a bit up, and let's see if that suits or not. If that doesn't, then we can just replace
Okay.
it.
Sounds good. You'll update the fonts a little bit as well, I suspect.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, Shruti, we can move ahead.
All right. Thanks, Nikhil. Josh, I think you're up next. I'm so sorry. Tanuj, you're up next.
So I added the filter by categories option to the blogs. Uh, so it is basically like the tags part, and I changed how we using the URL. It is now blog slash category slash the blog name slugified. Currently, we don't have 13 blogs which don't have a category, so I just put dummy for them. Uh, those needs to be had a category. Apart from that, mm, nothing more.
Nice. Were we getting an outline on the blog post a second ago? Okay. Oh, is that okay? So is that's just an update to the shadowing of the card?
And this was there from before, so uh, we didn't knew what this is for the list view, so we didn't knew what actually we wanted, so we kept
Oh,
this for the time being, as far as I remember.
uh, seems like we would use this probably the same thing as the grid view. Uh, if you
Sure. Yeah.
go to the, and I think we're still working on the grid view. So okay. One thing that we might want to add to the category, the filtered categories, is a grid versus list view, a switcher.
Oh, the same thing. Sure. uh, should that also be there for the tags?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, I'll add that also.
Also, does categories and tags both filter simultaneously means together?
No, uh, for that it has to be I have to do that dynamically, and this is being done by GraphQL. That would be slower, but can be done, I think.
Okay, like if one selects a category and then clicks on a blog post and then does a filter by a tag.
So how it is doing currently is that it's creating an entire new URL for this category. So all the blogs uh, in the community category gets listed down here. If we want to do that, what you are suggesting, then I think we will have to um, instead of doing like this, we have to do it dynamically, in which uh, you use normal JavaScript for filtering out instead of using GraphQL for generating different pages.
Okay. Also, one thing I would like to add, like previously when we are discussing if we should be giving both the categories and tags, so a bit of research says that either of them would be good, but keeping both of them won't affect the SEO very much. Like if we keep any one of them, then also it would be a desirable and a better effect than keeping both of them.
Nikhil, are you saying you you did do a little bit of research and came to the conclusion that if the same domain has the same page published under multiple URLs, that accrues negatively against that domain's authority for a given keyword?
Yeah, not negatively, but it won't add also. It won't get a
Okay.
positive effect also. Like
Okay.
if we add both a category and a tax, it won't. If you only keep like five or six categories or four to five categories, then also it's pretty good and that's fine.
Okay. That's good. Um, yeah, I think it's when at some point, if we get squeezed for space, like if at some point what we have is another widget in here that's like sign up for next week's webinar, or like and we start to run out of room, then we might begin to hide the tags probably is what we would hide on occasion where there's not enough room. Like it might be the first thing to fall to the wayside. But so that actually brings up a different another thing is like, hey, we actually could use a widget for subscribe. That would be a fairly common widget to show. And then we need a widget that's a little more dynamic in nature to the extent that we end up creating our own, I don't know, adverts or our own, you know, we should, I'll take, Sriti, do you mind taking a note on those two things, two different widgets for the blogs, one for subscribing, one for any upcoming event? Cool. And then good, Nikhil, thank you for confirming that. I wasn't sure. And Tanuj, I like how you use dummy as the name of the category because that gives me real incentive to get off my butt and go label some things. Cool. And then good deal. Yeah, then the switcher, like, yeah, it makes sense that we would enable people on the grid view, the list view, the filtered view for categories, the filtered view for tags, that we would enable them with the switcher. Also, when we implement search, it would be the same thing. Like they would still have, the tools to, because if they're looking at 10 items returned in the search or 10 items returned in the category filter, 10 versus 50, they might want to switch between list view and grid view, if that's easy
Yeah,
enough. If it's
yeah,
not easy, then let's skip it.
it's not too easy. Also, I can do that in the next year. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, sure. Wait. If it's not too easy, you can. Okay. Yeah. If it's not too easy, then let's don't bother. But if
I have to do some things I know because I tried to implement in this page, and there was some problem with making both of them work together with the pagination. It was, mean, one was destroying the state of the other. So that is one issue there.
right. Okay. Would it be the case that if someone wanted to switch, that we might have to force a page load?
Means actually that is also I'm in issue I'm facing in the PR I have open. So like what was happening before was something like, if I went to block page by two, and if I'm the list view and then I'm in this page, and I try to suppose go to another page, one issue was there that it was again going back to the grid view, because uh, when the page changed, so it didn't knew, so basically the state also changed, and there is no, I didn't find anything to centrally control the state. Like there is redux for React, but adding redux to this website, I don't think, uh, we don't have so much centrally controlled state uh, that could force us to use redux and add to our build time. But mm, so I didn't add redux for now, and trying to get around it.
Is that a possible solution, that if when they switch between views that we force a page reload, would that avoid the conflict of one tearing down the state of the other? Or that it doesn't matter?
It's, if we do page reload, if, then I don't think there would, state would then also be destroyed only. Uh, this is, it will basically be the same thing. In this, the page is changing, so this component is basically two different components in two different pages,
Hmm.
although it is pages. So I had to basically carry over the state from one page to the other.
Huh. Okay. Hmm. I don't have any other intelligent suggestions to give. I don't know. It wouldn't be the end of the world if we went out initially without the switcher either. So right now, we it seems like we do have it functional, but the pagination doesn't quite work.
This pagination is working completely fine. The one I am trying to implement currently, that 1 2 3 4
Oh,
1, like all the pages listed, I'm having I'm having trouble configuring that.
if you use two different instances of the enhanced pagination that lists out the numbers, if you were to use two different instances, one for grid view and one for list view, I wonder if you would avoid the overwriting.
Yeah, I thought of that, and it can be done, but my initial goal is that to use that pagination for each of the component and not for blog specifically. And if I do that, it will be entirely for blog and have to create a separate one for all the other collection.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yikes. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Well, then, yeah, maybe best to. Well, yeah, okay. On the if you do add the switchers to the other pages, they might have this. They would have the current version of the pagination until you were to crack the new one. Until.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Nice. And there's one thing to note that separate from what you were showing, Tanuj, but Josh or Shriti, if we could note this, that the social icons in the footer should be of light gray, so they're like CC, they're CCC. Also, I think Austin, did you end up having a slightly enhanced version of the subscribe to newsletter that was a bit more concise or something? Was it just subscribe or?
No, not yet, sir. Not yet.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Okay. So for now, it's just the like the gray of the color of the icons.
Yes.
The gray I did show in the HashiCorp website, similar to one that, right?
I think so. Or yeah, I mean the thing is like our social icons with the YouTube, GitHub, Twitter. I think they're white and they should be CCC
Okay, okay.
in terms of the hex code. While we're in there, Josh, there's one thing that I know that kind of gets to Austin in a good way, and that is the copyright, the 2020. I think the word copyright and that at sign. Actually, that's an at sign, not a copyright. So we would want to switch to. Austin can send you the
Icon.
yeah, or the ASCII code, I think, for copyright.
Yeah, the symbol. I can just type it to him later, or I can put the chat box
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
like this. Something like this. Just put it to just bring out the copyright symbol. Just type it in this React to HTML.
Okay. Moving on.
All right, Josh.
Yeah, I'll present.
Sure.
Yeah, so is my screen visible?
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yes, your screen is visible.
this is what I tried to do, like current. Just a second. Uh, so uh, I looked at a few websites and the projects and landing pages. So I found that this is a very common thing. Like this is a very common first section on a page. So I did this. This was this before. But yeah, so Nikhil's point was that this is the landing page, and like it has similar thing, like a image over here, some text over here, and then two icons. And similarly, we'll be having an image over here, some text over here, and then two icons. So like, will it be okay to copy? Like, will it be okay to have the same design here as well? That was Nikhil's point.
Mhm. So this is good. This is better than what we currently have, but I'll refrain from comment until we have a design, and then we'll. This is
Okay. Uh,
the next section, though. I think that it's worth. I mean, yeah, we don't. Okay, we have in general we don't want to have quite exactly the same on across the different pages. It's easy enough to begin to make those look a little bit different. It's kind of nice to see what it looks like to have a dark background, because that's something to potentially do. But yeah, maybe we'll.
okay, so like.
So
So here is what I saw, and it was like very close to us, the green. So I just took it over.
sure, there are other homepage designs in the Appian theme that we're using that could also.
Yeah, these are few of them, and then we have this. Like mostly, it always has some image on the right and some text on the left.
Yeah,
See, like if you go into any of those.
cool. Yep, right. Good. Well, let's talk about the second. Austin will come up with something shortly, but the second, the three column section that you have. So I know we're gonna look at a color other than yellow. If we're talking about the features of meshing, if people are used to seeing features listed in columns like this, so this is good. The shading of these, I think, is slightly different than what was in the design.
I think it's like I guess it was the same, the shading only in the right and the bottom one. Uh, yeah, and this icons needs to be like, I think if an SVG is available, because the the inner dark yellow is difficult to, like we'll have to
Sure.
like we cannot use icon for this if you wish to have some customized color.
Shriti, are you capturing that meeting minute, the request for an SVG? Cool.
Yeah, so this is, I think it's, yeah, like the shadow can be darkened a bit.
Underneath the big numbers at the bottom, do we have, yeah, cool, okay, all right. Nice. Okay. There's a bit of this, there's a bit of review for the what the actual lines say, but I don't. This is good. I mean, that's all. Like, I think it's done.
Yeah, and this is like I think we can make some use of this part as well.
Yeah, those on in the design, those have cards that they're on.
Yeah, like so if we agree on keeping those 6 things, then I'll look into something like some background and all stuff for those. Like, is this data, like
Yeah.
after having these 3 columns, are we going to use this 6 as well?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And yeah, and on action item for you or Shriti, you said like you'll be, so I did it multiple can be opened at the same time and you can close all of them.
Nice.
So we'll be like you said you'll be adding a few more FAQs, so that
Yeah.
data is to be provided by you or Shriti.
Good deal. And we do want to change the colors on this. Like, if you can, I know you're going to get rid of
Yeah,
these
yeah,
designs.
like these are totally customizable. You can do any like colors and any changes can be done.
So, Austin, do you have a suggestion on what we would do for colors there?
Colors. 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 Is it possible if we can just if we can iterate it so we can get the best? Because deciding on one now will be like
Okay.
we are doing a guess game.
Okay. Yep. Just kind of wait for the design, the full page
Yeah.
design to come out. Okay.
Yes, full page design. When it's done, we just decide, just like the way we did with the landscape when we switch between the jungle green and the dark black and everything. We're able to get a balance.
Cool.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so what I was thinking of, like I'll be dividing this page into sections as we have other pages. Like currently this all code is in a single file. So what we'll be doing is we'll be dividing this into sections. So currently the sections that are like fixed that we'll be having, those are this and this one and the FAQs, right? These
Yeah.
three
Now,
sections are finalized.
yeah, the issue with doing that approach is that we probably don't want the horizontal lines that are separating the sections like that. That actually kind of takes us a little bit of a step back to more of like a Twitter bootstrap looking feel, rather one flowing page that has
Yeah,
large
yeah.
graph.
I by sections I mean like the code will be like reusable sections, nothing like a line or something.
Okay,
So like this one is also like this is also a part of this one is a section. Then we have this is the project section, and then we have this management section. So these are all sections. So in that manner, I'm saying.
good deal.
Also, are we putting the how it works in this page itself?
Yeah.
In here maybe.
Okay.
Yep. We'll end up probably having a couple of pages that describe meshery. So to your question, Josh, about if we have those 3 columns, would we also have those 6 cards? It might be the case that we would regurgitate some of that information if formatted differently on a different page, and that when we have something like how it works, since it's such a tall animation, that that animation would be on like the main meshery page, and maybe those 6 cards or something are on a secondary page. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think suffice to say, we do want to put the how it works on the Meshery page. Other than that, let's move off the Meshery page because we don't have a design just yet. And
uh so what I'll be proposing is like I'll be creating a design and with these three elements included in the Figma file, and like you and Augustine can help me on other sections out there.
okay, sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so I think that's all. uh, Apart from that, I was looking for careers page, but I saw that Augustine is already doing something for that, so I just took a pause on over that and
Yeah.
uh, yeah, so next one is Neil and Tommy, the newcomers design page.
Uh, Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Okay, so I'll share my screen. Um, okay, so you can see this, right?
Yeah.
So this is the newcomers page, and let me just open the
Yeah.
current page.
uh Neil, if you
Yeah.
can do that preview for this page, like the play button on the top right corner.
Uh, yeah. I'll do that. This right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the okay. So the part over here is what was in place of this. The table you didn't want the table, so it's going to be in this format. Like you select this and it
Mm.
changes, and whatever was inside the table is now over here. Then after that comes the how to contribute there was, and it was like these are the steps and instructions. So I have put it in form of this. So kind of like a card to indicate the step and then the instructions. Maybe I could remove these 1, 2, 3, and that's step 1, step 2, step 3. Then there was tutorials with a table of the resources and the topics. So I've created a table. So this is the only color that I have added separately. Otherwise, all the colors are from the brand guide. So this is how the table looks like. I think you can see the full table. Yeah, this is how the table looks like. So you have the slides, you've got the recording, name of the presenter, and that's a link. And after that, there was this interested, and then if you select this, this has a link. So I made it into a call to action in a way. But I just didn't know what to do with the background, so I just put a border and I did a little bit of shadow. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. What do you guys think?
I think the steps indicating cards are like that are really good. So like
Okay.
up, like instead of just listing down the steps, this is looking very nice.
Yeah, because they were saying steps, so I thought let me put it 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, major upgrade from what we have currently.
Like
Um,
this needs to like what I feel is few spacing and alignment things needs to
yeah,
be
yeah.
done.
That actually the thing is like the text box. I'm unable to edit it properly over here because it does not have the some like it's different. So
And
that's the
can you
problem.
move to the like landing section, like the initial part of this page?
Oh, okay.
uh,
Yeah.
uh yeah. and if you can open the full page preview, that is uh,
Hmm.
so I think uh, uh, this looks bit, what I can say is no, don't scroll, keep the initial thing only.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this, I think this looks empty or something. I don't like uh, I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
have the word to describe, but I think this one needs to have some change.
Okay. This welcome and this, right? Or this as well.
Yeah, the welcome and the paragraph below it.
Okay.
Maybe like it's not just that. It may be something. You can just change some spacing or fonts or something. Not font size or like any. I think this one can be improved. That's my point.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll see what to do about that.
Yeah, that's some of the hardest feedback to give is well, there's something here. It's not quite right, and I
Yeah. Yeah.
couldn't.
I was
couldn't hang
thinking
with it.
that, but I mean, I didn't know what to do with it, so.
Yeah, no. That's actually, and neither does Josh. I mean, it's just so by the way, I mean Neil and Tommy, it's a significant step forward. This is a lot better than what was there.
Okay.
Congrats to you guys. I mean, what Nikhil and the other guys were saying is that like it really is much better when you've got, hey, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. How do you want to contribute? Here, and then
Yeah.
in each of these sections, here's 3 or so. Like I think having the details is fine and is good. Like, hey, it is overall it's 1, 2, 3 big steps, but here's the little here's the smaller steps under each of those big 3 sections.
Yeah. Instruction.
Couple of things that all kinds of feedback to give. Know that as I prattle off a few that like that you guys have done that we're on a good path. Like this is you guys are doing well. A couple items to note is that well, if we could, so the there are 2 fonts that we're trying to stick to on the site, and I think you're using them
Yeah,
both
I've
here.
used both Canelas and Canela Soft.
Nice.
Majorly it's Canela Soft only. Canela's I think only one place I had used.
And it might be that I haven't seen numbers in Canela Soft, but the 1, 2, and 3, is that?
No, they're icons actually. They're not numbers.
Oh, okay.
Like
Gotcha.
I used a plugin and I've taken an icon
Oh, okay.
because I wanted a big number.
Sure. So there's a minor point to pick with those numbers, just because they end up to the user, they look like
Yeah.
a roboto, or they
Yeah,
look
yeah,
like
yeah.
the icon that we have, the logo that we have in the background works, great, good choice because it fits well for the number and etc. But it turns out that it's actually the logo for one of the projects. So, and it's called Mesh Sync. And so,
Oh.
so it turns out it has meaning other than just kind of being a design element. So
I basically wanted, like, I thought it was part of the Layer5 logo.
Yeah.
So I thought just let me use that.
Totally. Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, yeah, if it was just kind of a design element that was part of the mixed bag of things that get used occasionally, like that's great. As it turns out, like it's a logo.
So I need to change it.
Yeah, something else, just because otherwise we'll confuse people with when we're talking about that specific project and that specific set of code versus.
Okay.
If you zoom out a little, one thing, well, I think we've ended up sort of settling on black for all the headings, like a black color for the fonts, which we mostly have. I think the tutorials down just below this, that might be.
Yeah,
Might
this is this.
Yeah, hard to tell, but
This is actually, I think, I
It's
don't
the
remember
dark
which
gray.
color. It's color is the 3349. I think it's the charcoal or something, I guess.
oh, it is. Good job. Yeah, that's funny. I had to look up what the name of it was last night. So that's awesome.
Basically, I've added it over here. I
Oh,
mean, not over here, in my other folder.
sure. Nice. And then if you go back to the top real quick, there was something else. It was, the information guides and issues. You're right. This is a significant step forward from the table.
Yes.
Although I don't know if we ever, like, do you have anything under information or issues? Like, I don't know if we actually need, the guides are beautiful and perfect. That's exactly, we wrote those up for this very purpose. But I don't know if we actually have issues in information. Like, I don't know if we.
Over here,
Hi. Okay,
it's just-
sorry.
it's
We
just-
do actually.
yeah, it's just this, like, information was about the links, and issues was this. Issues actually doesn't have anything really interesting. I mean, but information still does need this.
If you could open the current newcomers page, it would be clear. Like,
Yeah, this is the new page.
no, the current page.
Oh, the IO, Layer5 IO.
So is yeah, you can open up Layer5.
Yeah, or if you click on information and issues. So,
I've not opened Layer5 IO actually before.
I've added the link in the chat. You can open it.
Oh, 1 minute. Oh, where's the chat now? It's just changed. Okay. Oh, this one I have opened it over here already. Okay, never mind. So this is the current newcomers page.
I don't think we are.
I think you are presenting the wrong screen.
No. What can you all see?
The tab hasn't changed.
I'm seeing the Figma file.
Okay. Yes, I am. Just give me a minute. So sorry. Yeah. So this is the page over here. Now, can you all see it?
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Like, this is the info that was present previously.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize y'all couldn't see it at all. Yeah. So information has just this things, like these are simple links. But issues, maybe we can drop issues because it has like 2 things.
So I would just like to add one thing.
Yeah.
If Tommy has the section working, then we can get a better idea. Like, she was working on that section.
Yeah. This portion, this part, Tommy had created it, and then she had implemented it in her local.
So if she has the implementation working, then we will be able to get a better idea, like how it will work.
Yeah.
Then we can decide if we can remove it.
Tommy, do you want to share?
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Tommy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yep, we can.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like. And as for issues. And
Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. Like, if we
yeah, the links lead to a new page, right?
I think like if you open the information tab, yeah, I think instead of listing it each in a row, we can
Put
congest it.
icons maybe.
Yeah, like it looks like if we use this, then it would be like 80% of right side would be empty in this part. So
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at it on the former page, like clicking this was like clicking the whole screen. When you hover on it, like the whole whatever. So I felt like how do you there's sometimes that you may just like click, you don't know where you're clicking because the whole once you touch the whole like button, like the whole button like changes color.
Mhm.
So I felt like identifying each one, like each and everyone out on its own, like
Yeah, that's totally fine. We're just talking like if you could make those 5 links into a single row
okay,
similar to here, cause what the
okay,
issue is like the right part looks very much empty in your preview. So for that we're talking about.
okay, okay.
Like if you have something else in the mind to keep here, to keep something on the right, then no issues. But like if it's empty, then we could go into something better.
Okay. We'll think of something and like we don't know. We'll get back to you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone else has any feedback?
Yeah, we'll want to, I know you guys are working on this, but we'll want to avoid use of undraw.io graphics or any stock graphics basically.
Oh. The illustration which I had made in the call to action, the box, that illustration is from OneDraw.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So do I will have to change it?
Yeah. Well, there's a community in the chat. I put a link to a community. I don't know, a couple of three people and a sign. That or something.
Oh, with the Layer5
Yeah,
logo.
like a revision of that to something else. Like we can get you that SVG, and you can mix that up. Or
Okay, yeah.
there's also a small like community icon that we're using. That's the profiles of 3 stick figures or 3 sort of fat figures. Anyway, we can't, something other than undraw.io.
Okay.
Cool. And this that we've got, like the information that we've got in these bullets, that's highly informative info and is very good. Like a link when we eventually come out with a calendar page, a link to the calendar page or the embedded calendar would be good. A link to the meet table, the table that right now in your web browser, if you visit meet.layer5.io,
Okay.
you'll see what I mean. So Tomi, since you're sharing, do you mind opening up a new tab and going to
Okay.
meet.layer5.io?
I'm coming. Oh.
And then then if you visit that URL, it redirects you to this. It's kind of an easy thing to remember. It redirects you to this section of the page. Anyway, there's some things that we can either reuse some components or just point people to the main community page where they can find this type of a thing. Did someone recently add down arrows to the YouTube links? Because we should pull those off, if so. Does anyone know?
It isn't visible in my screen.
No,
Okay.
neither in mine.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's just a browser plugin. Okay. Cool. And so, Neil, as you think about that design and how to the information architecture of those bullets, it might be that they're small, like the icons themselves. Maybe they just go in a horizontal row or something like.
Yeah. Also, the illustration that is there at the start of this page. Can I use that at the very first block
On the current page.
on this
Or-
page? This Layer5 community.
Yeah, if
Tommy,
you-
can you just scroll upwards?
Okay.
Yeah, the man pushing the
yeah.
servers down. Like it's on. I can use this illustration, right?
Right. Yeah. That actually. Yep. Yep. We need to get more because even that one's like borderline useful. Like.
Yeah.
But
where do you get your illustrations from?
So that's a great question. Something I was going to mention is that there's a lot of illustrations that are in our Google Drive, and some of them will need some touch up or some color changes. But this one and all of them, basically all of everything that we're using should be in the community drive. And if you can't find something, let me know.
Okay. Can someone give me the link to that?
Yeah, I'll drop you the link in Slack.
Yeah.
It's actually on the newcomers page. Don't make me smack you.
Oh, really? Oh my God. Okay, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so I think all the topics are done, and Shruti, will you take over?
Yeah.
If Shruti is present.
Yeah, one last item there is Augustine on? Yep, he is. Augustine, I don't know do you have any other designs that are ready to look at, or are we not there yet?
Currently, I am done with the 404 page because I was trying to check the page today and I saw the 404 page. Why trying to make the careers page? I checked and I didn't like the way the 404 page looked, so I created one and then I modified the nav bar, the drop down nav bar. Those are the only two designs we've done and we are done with. They are on the Figma 5. You just take a look at them. Navbar is black, and then the 404 page is close to it. Up next, we're going with the careers page.
Okay. So yeah, do you want to walk us through?
Okay. Let me see my screen. Okay, yeah, you see the screen here. Yeah, sharing. Checking. Okay, the design for the nav bar. If you notice the current ones, they have shadows. The current one has a lot of shadow on it, so I just took out the shadows and removed those underline at the meshery landscape and all. I took those out. Then I just used QS fonts, reduce the images so they don't look too big, and that was just it. And then I added a border. I know the border looked very faint, but that was the idea behind it, or the navbar, so it looks a bit more fancy and soft when it's when it's active, on the active state. Then for the 404 page, I just added a little 3D animation, 3D illustration, and then worked on the word, on the UX writing.
Cool. Nice. So if we use 3D here, does that is divergent from everywhere else where we're not?
Yes. I was going to use a 4 for illustration, 3D illustration. But then I decided, okay, since we're going to take them back home, why not just use something that looks like you are still on the website, but you want to go home, return to layer 5. So the page doesn't just look bland rather, but looks a bit more fancy yet also works.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and the text that we show is very intentional. It's kind of snarky.
I can work on that.
And yeah, if we're using, it would seem like we'd want to use 3D or not, across the site or not. I would think. And so putting it in one spot doesn't necessarily blend with the others. We don't generally want to refer to ourselves with the .io. One of our competitors calls themselves their name.io, and it sounds kind of dumb. And that's because they chose such a generic name too. But
Right.
return makes sense. And then, yeah, this makes sense. This over here. So what we've got, the changes you made for underscore, removing that makes sense. Hey, stopping some of the animation makes sense. About it's a bit over animated today. It is rounder here. That because of that roundness, we do get more wasted white space. But you pay for what you get in terms of beauty, I guess, for the curve. It might be nice if these were centered within the section. We did have a divider between these two sections because these are a collection of two different things. This is a collection of links, a collection of two featured things. So I wonder if we need the divider over here. If we do, it's a bit, is it, I don't know, I guess it's maybe not a bit long, but we've got so much wasted space over here that it starts to become a concern. When you look at, this is what we're, like, if you think this is what we're using as inspiration, if you think that what we have now is better than this, good, then we wouldn't want to copy exactly. But things that I like better about this are a slight shading that also differentiates between what's featured and what's, like, it's so light. I don't know if you can even see it, but it's a light gray. Our use of larger font over here that you have for projects, that's nicer. The less animation that you've got, that's nicer. It feels like we're down here, we're maybe missing, today we have like a learn more, I think.
I'll add that feature. Create and reduce the height. Right, let's go.
Ooh, nice. Ooh, yeah. Okay, nice. And then this is good. Wow, that's exciting. Wow, it's amazing what just a little bit of a change does. It's cool. And then, yeah, I think, you're spot on about the 404 page being kind of, well, I don't know, just to get, somewhat pathetic. If we just did like a /test, it's, I mean, the text is, hopefully the text is funny. Like as you sort of refresh, it'll say something different, and so that's fine. But to Austin's point, it's like, well, okay, and then what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to report an error, or can I just like the reality is very, 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 very few people are going to report an error, much, especially since today it points to GitHub and the people are like, what, where am I, what just happened? Why am I, most people won't.
If you notice, I then added like an emphasis on the reports this error on the here.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just, it's sort of our responsibility to be tracking in Google Analytics or otherwhere or somewhere else. Like if we're getting 404s, and we're the ones that need to, take care of that ourselves. So you're right. Like, and then, yeah, so we do showing them something else and sort of, and actually, it is kind of to Niel's earlier question and maybe to the challenge that Tommy and he face as they go to implement the newcomers page over time. Hopefully I know, Austin is working on eventually sort of working toward a design system that has, various elements that some of which are just highly reusable. I mean, this right here is not part of that system today. Maybe it becomes there, but it's an example of just like, a highly reusable element that like can be tossed in just to give the page a little more color. I'm not saying that that's what needs to go here, but rather I'm saying that of that home, that 3D thing or potentially a different graphic that's maybe not 3D, could go there and would hopefully be somewhat centric to us. An example being in the brand guide that I think Niel mentioned earlier. This is just an example. It's not to say that this is what would be used exactly, but if we go into the Layer5 community, websites, logos, there's hopefully some assets and SVGs and things that all throughout here. And if we don't have the right kind, I mean, like, again, we should be building up a library, but like this is an example of something that I don't know that it unto its own design at the moment is the best or exactly what we'd want to use, but it generally represents visually how you might represent a service mesh. This is kind of what that might look like. Not kind of, I mean, like this can be what it would look like. It could be changed from this, but if something like this were shown where it's like, whoops, things are a mesh here and we're sorry and blah, blah, go back to home. If they literally go back to home or they go anywhere else is fine. They don't, but showing them something that's of us or of, as we build out that catalog of things, it'll be good. But nice, good. What else do we, you guys are doing good work. And the newcomers page, a lot better. The timeline is basically there for the landscape. And that means that Nikhil, there's probably one more visualization to generate from all the data in those tables. So I'm just setting an expectation to expect that there might be another visualization on there. But,
okay.
But it's otherwise, nearly done. Josh, I think for lack of having a visual, a design for the Meshery page, completed and reviewed, like the thing that you've created in lack of that, in lieu of that is pretty good, like, and it's a complete page and has sections that go through that, like, and so it's a step forward. And yeah, Tanuj, if we don't get the numbered pagination, if we don't get the actual like pagination and we just get a older and newer posts, not the end of, or not the thing, and not the hill to die on, not the end of the world. The related posts stuff, that helps spruce things up a fair bit. So Tanuj, things like the search, something good to maybe do next.
Yeah,
The couple.
yeah, I was going to work on how it works, then go to search.
Oh, gotcha. Right. Cool. Also, the yeah, it turns out. So Tomi, I don't know. This might be something for you and Niel. I don't know. Is like these two things that we were just talking about. A couple of widgets that we'll want to reuse, on occasion. So today we already have this, subscribe to the newsletter call to action that is a component that can be generally tossed into the bottom of a few different pages. That's good. That's great. We also are going to want to ask people to subscribe in different ways. I don't even know if you go to any, I don't know, any random page, you'll be sitting there and then you'll see something slide in that says, oh, subscribe to read more, or get this in your inbox, or wow, they actually have Kubernetes on their main page. It's only taken 8 years. Or see this right here, this I'm not saying we want to go create small annoying widgets, but rather if we do have widgets that we can put into the blog section for the upcoming events or to subscribe, I think we'll find that we might use those more than once. So
widgets as in that is going to pop suddenly that you close later, or something that's already there?
probably something that's already there, like.
Okay.
Cool. Did we miss anybody or miss anything? Aditya, thank you for expressing some opinion earlier. That was good. Has everyone gotten a chance to introduce on the call? We got to know everybody. Oh, and I don't know if Shriti, I keep kind of pausing, waiting for Shriti to tell me to shut up and close the call. So since she's not here, let me ask real quick. Aditya, have you gotten a chance to introduce yourself and say hi to everybody on one of these calls? And I know you might not have audio, so it might just be a chat thing. Oh, nice. Okay, there's a first timer. All right, we can't close the call without a little bit of trying to embarrass you or make you say something, or I don't know, something. I understand you probably don't have audio, so we have plenty of opportunity to embarrass you on a different call on the next time. It's very nice to have you though. And so if you don't find a place that of interest within one of the projects, certainly let me know, or Tanuj, who's on the call, or Nikhil, who's on the call. And they'll get you plugged in. You can even talk to Tomi and Niel because they're writing the newcomers page. So, and I think at this point, Neil's going to start to read what's on the page since he's going to look for the Google Drive link. So anyway, you see how we love on each other here. We're totally at leisure to pick on each other. So it's okay. All right, fair enough. Very nice to have you, Aditya. We'll catch up with you in Slack and catch you on the next call as well. So this is great. I really appreciate, by the way, Josh and Nikhil and Tanuj, you guys offered, and Austin, you guys all offered and volunteered to meet on Saturday, just for a couple of hours, just to make sure that we try to hit that end of year publication. I've got my own work cut out for me to bring a lot of content, a lot of clarification of the written words that are there. And so thanks for holding my feet to the fire. Let's do it. Cool.
Always.
All right, fair enough. See you guys on the next call.
Yeah.
Good work, Tommy. Good work, Neil.
Bye, everyone.
Wow. See you guys.